The elk stood drinking by the water's edge. Suddenly a crow flew down. "Why are you sad, Long-Nose?" it wondered. "Because I will never be able to do it." "Do what?" "Become king of the forest. All boy elks have to become king. You can fly, but what can I do?" "It will work out," said the crow, "but I wonder how I'm going to finish making my new nest. The old one blew down." "You'll have to work that out yourself," said the elk. As he walked off, he brushed a few dry twigs off a pine tree. Straight away, the crow picked them up and started building. The elk didn't see this, but the hedgehog peeped out from behind the bush. A bit later, the elk came across a hare. "I say, you look ever so unhappy," said the hare. "I am," said the elk, "but not you. You can jump a very long way, but I can't. How can I ever be king?" "It will be all right," said the hare, "but I'll be late getting back to my burrow on the other side of the lake. I can't jump all the way around. What shall I do?" "You'll have to work that out yourself," said the elk. "I'm going for a swim. You can sit on my back and think about it if you like." The hare held on to the elk's antlers and he swam off. When they got to the other side, the hare bounded off happily. "Thank you," said the hare. "I'm nearly home now." The elk didn't hear, but a ladybird did. The elk had not gone far when he heard a song, a beautiful song, but a very sad song. It was a blackbird sitting in a pine tree. "Oh, oh, oh, what bad luck," she sang. "Yes, indeed," said the elk. "Bad luck that I was born an elk. You can sing so beautifully it makes other animals cry. But what can I do? I'm supposed to be king of the forest." "I'm sure everything will be okay," sobbed the blackbird, "but my baby bird has fallen to the ground. What shall I do?" "I don't know," said the elk. "I'm sorry, but you'll have to work that out yourself." A little while later, the blackbird said, "I'm sure you're very good at bowing down, aren't you?" So the elk bowed down all the way to the ground. The little baby bird quickly climbed onto his antlers. "And I'm sure you can lift your head up very quickly too," said the blackbird. When the elk lifted his head up, the baby bird was thrown high into the sky. It fluttered its wings and fluttered, and suddenly it was flying. I can fly," chirped the little baby bird, all happy and proud. And the blackbird warbled with happiness. Thank you, you saved my baby," warbled the blackbird. "It wasn't me, it was your idea," said the elk. But he did feel a little bit happier. And right there, standing behind a stone and watching everything, was a bear. A little while later, the elk met a squirrel scampering between the trees. "Imagine being able to jump about from branch to branch like that," thought the elk. "That would look very kingly indeed." "Why are you in such a hurry?" he wondered. "I don't know how I'm going to pack all the nuts I need in time for winter." "If I could climb, I would help you," said the elk, "but I can't, so you'll have to work that out yourself." "All right then, but I bet you're very good at bunting with your head." "Bunt that tree there." The squirrel pointed to a hazelnut tree with his tail. When the elk bunted the tree, a shower of nuts fell to the ground. "Oh, thank you," said the squirrel. "You're very good at that." "But it was you who worked it out," said the elk. "True, but it was you who said I should work it out," said the squirrel. Now the elk smiled, and 1,000 little ants in a nearby anthill all laughed. "Maybe I'm good for something after all," the elk thought. The tastiest snack he knew was the apples growing on the farm by the edge of the forest. He usually went there at night or early in the morning, because he could have some peace and quiet. But today, he went there in the early evening. The hens were still up, and they were whirling about all over the place, so he had to make sure not to tread on them. The pig was also out in her little yard. "Who are you then?" grunted the pig. "I'm an elk," said the elk. "I come from the forest. I'm just here to eat a few apples. They're so tasty I forgot I have to be king." "Don't you want to be king?" "Yes, but I don't think I can." "Are there pigs in the forest?" Yes, they're called wild boars, said the elk. But I have never seen one. Would you like to be a wild boar? I would like to be a wild boar. The elk ate some tasty apples, and the pig thought about what it would be like to be in the wild and free and not shut in her little yard. If you were king, you could help me get out, said the pig when the elk had finished eating. Maybe, said the elk. But you'll have to work that out yourself, said the elk. The pig grunted and frowned, deep in thought. You look like you have nice strong legs, she said. Could you give this fence a kick before you go? I suppose so, said the elk, and he kicked the fence so hard that 2 thick planks broke in half. Thank you, said the pig. It was your idea, said the elk. All the flies in the pigsty giggled and clapped their wings. All that night the elk roamed around. The moon shone like a silver apple in the sky. He heard an owl hooting. He saw bats whirling around the trees like black leaves. Tomorrow, he thought. Tomorrow I will tell the other animals that I can't be their king. They can work out everything better themselves. Then he fell asleep with his head resting on a birch tree. The pig was lying in her pigsty with her head outside the door. Dark clouds floated past, but sometimes the moon came out like a silver potato in the sky. Tomorrow, she thought, tomorrow I'll run away. But not before I have some food inside me. Then she fell asleep and dreamt of running around with a herd of wild boar. They rolled down the hills and jumped into muddy puddles and splashed around. The next day, after breakfast, the pig set off. Bye-bye, little hens, she shouted. I'm off to live a new life in the wild. All day, the elk wandered around by himself, his head hanging down. He thought about how disappointed everyone would be. I bet I'll be the first elk who won't be king, he thought. How should I tell everyone? In the evening, he went to the lake to have a drink. All the animals of the forest were already there. The crow, the hedgehog, the hare, the ladybird, the blackbird, the bear, the squirrel, and the 1,000 ants, and all the flies from the sty. Here he comes, shouted the ants. Our new king, shouted the owl and the bear. Sorry, but I'm not good enough to be king, said the elk. You're better off working things out yourself. That's the point, said all the animals. We could not ask for a better king. You listen to us and let us work things out ourselves. That way everything turns out for the best. When the elk heard this, he felt very proud. Right then. That's that, he said, stomping his front hoof on the ground. And all the animals of the forest cheered and cheered until they heard a sad little oink oink from a bush. It was the pig. Her snout was covered in thorns. She had been trying to eat a juniper bush. I've been in the wild and free all day, she said, but I've had enough now, and I so miss my trough and the hens, but I don't know how to get back home. I will show you, said the elk. So he walked ahead of the pig with a large royal strides, then said goodbye by the apple tree. Bye-bye, King Elk, said the pig. Bye-bye, said the elk, when the pig was safely home. A long time afterwards, the pig told the hens about her wild day of freedom in the forest and about her dear friend, the wise and popular King Elk. And what do you think the hens said? Cluck, 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 they said. Good night, little ones. Sleep tight.